What's up, guys? I'm Teacher Josh. Today I'm going to take you guys around my old neighborhood and I'm going to show you New York City and more specifically the borough of Brooklyn. It's very well known around the world and there's a lot of good reasons for that, so I'll show you some cool little things about our area, even though where I'm from is not necessarily representative of the whole Brooklyn. It'll give you guys a cool little look into life in a pocket of New York City. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you around New York a little bit. This area is called Bay Ridge, and at the very end of the street there is the Verrazano Bridge. That is the bridge that goes from Brooklyn to Staten Island. But we'll come back to that, and first I'll show you the one thing that makes New York pretty famous is that we have good subway access. So this is my old neighborhood. Bay Ridge is an older part of the city where actually George Washington saw the first British sailing into New York Harbor. So it's quite an interesting little neighborhood, historically working class, but there's some very, very wealthy areas as well. Pretty typical housing stock for this part of New York. It's a mix of row homes and semi-attached homes, as well as some stone homes, some nicer old stone homes. So, and these are basically walk-ups. So these would be like older pre-World War I, World War II apartment buildings. So now here's 4th Avenue. In Bay Ridge, this is where the subway is. In the photos we have here, it looks like it might be a little bit under construction, but let's see if we can't get a little closer. So that is the subway. They have a train that goes 1 or 2 more stops towards into Bay Ridge, but most trains are going out of Bay Ridge because it's an end of the line kind of town for the stops. It's a really nice area surrounded by water, and because it doesn't have that much subway access, it's quieter than other parts of New York City. Let's go have a look towards the Verrazano Bridge, and I'll see if you guys are interested in checking that out. This area is very famous for Italian food, for pizzerias. So all the pizzerias that you see, or Italian bakeries, these are going to be very, very high quality. Like, people will come from all over the city to get Italian food in Bay Ridge or in some of the surrounding districts near Bay Ridge. The further you get up in the numbers of the streets, the further you are from Manhattan, from the center. So if you're in 80s, 90s, that's as far out as it goes, 100th Street and then the bridge. So as you can see, it's lower density as we're going higher up in the numbers. Pretty typical for most of New York. You're gonna have a street that has shops on it, and then you'll have some sort of residential for about 1 or 2 streets, and then another street that has shops on it. Even in this area, everything's mostly open late. There's food available 24 hours. The subway runs 24 hours. And it's generally a nice place. Have a little look around. I used to bartend all throughout this area, so I'm pretty familiar with the streets here and with the people. Bay Ridge is a nice part of Brooklyn. It is becoming a bit expensive, but all of New York is. So as you see, more Italian bakeries, Italian restaurants, and that big bridge coming up there is the Verrazano Bridge. So that was originally built to connect Brooklyn to Staten Island, and it was meant to be free after it was paid for, but they're still charging people. So most of Brooklyn is a mix of these type of buildings, these kind of older walk-ups, and the occasional semi-connected house. So what I'll do is I'll go into the neighborhoods a little bit so you guys can see some of the nicer homes, because the further you get from the subway, the lower density that it gets, and some of the homes become very nice. So these are semi-attached, so each one of these will be a house, and again, it's mixed in with your, the odd apartment building, and the architecture styles are very different. Like here you have Tudors. This is a Tudor style apartment, a house. And then you'll have mixed in with your, kind of typical older, this is very common looking homes in New York and Philadelphia. We're going to get a little closer to the water. There's a road called Shore Road, and most of the homes in this area are very, very nice. So it's interesting in Brooklyn, you can go from a very, very like working class crowded neighborhood to a very, very rich neighborhood full of mansions. And sometimes it can only be a 2 or 3 block walk from each other. So as you can see, like this is almost like a suburban density now. So the homes, people have yards, you know, people have porches. This almost looks like something that you would find outside of the city. So all this is only about 25 minutes to Manhattan on the subway. Again, different architectural styles, semi-attached, fully attached, townhouse kind of style buildings, apartment buildings, older brownstones. Bay Ridge is a wealth of different architecture. And this is Shore Road. So across the water there is Staten Island, which is a popular place people tend to move when they have children. And all along Shore Road are these kind of nice condos and cooperative buildings. So Bay Ridge, again, is kind of a mixed density. It's a little bit inconvenient from the city, but because of that, it retains a more local New York kind of feel. Whereas a lot of New York City has become very gentrified, Bay Ridge has more or less kind of stayed real New York. Because there's a lot of homeowners in Bay Ridge, especially in these nicer areas. But as you get closer and closer to where the subway is, you'll see the density becomes higher. And even over here, this is still like a very nice area. But, you know, as we work our way closer and closer back to the subway, you're going to start to see homes are closer together. There's more apartment buildings. The feel of the city kind of changes. So I'm going to work my way up there so you guys can take a look. Yeah, here we go. You're starting to get more row houses and this type of thing. And then you've got a couple streets away, you've got mansions. So Bay Ridge is really interesting that way. 30 minutes into the city. And I'd like to show you guys Manhattan. Let's see if we can show you how far we are from Manhattan.